What's up everybody? John here with a new video, and this video is going to be specifically geared to those of you that are interested in working on board a cruise ship. Now, back when I first started posting up all my YouTube videos that were kind of like my own personal experience on board, the original idea came from when I was applying to work on a cruise ship. I tried to do as much research as I could so that I wasn't hit with surprises when I got on board that first day. And this video is going to be geared to kind of prepping you to that next stage. When I first set up this whole YouTube channel with all these different videos, I getting a lot of emails, a lot of messages with people asking me questions like how do you get involved in working on board? How did you apply? What's it like? Everything. And I figured, let me kind of address everybody else and kind of answer all those questions. But at the same time, I got some questions for you. So if you're one of those people that are really strongly considering working on board a cruise ship, you just need to know that it's not a job for everybody. And that's not saying don't do it, run, turn around, don't look back. No, that's just saying be prepared for something that is just, it's not for everybody. I'm going to ask you some questions, and I want you to take these questions, I want you to write them down, and I want you to answer them honestly for yourself so that you can then see if you are indeed ready to take the next step and pursue a career working on board a cruise ship. First question that you want to ask yourself is, are you ready to be away from home for a long period of time? Now this is kind of like the first initial one that everybody gets, that, oh my god, how long were you away for? Most contracts kind of span from 6 months to 10 months from home, and that's constant. Like you are away and you are working for 6 to 10 months straight, no days off. Then you get to come home for about 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks for a vacation, about 2 months where you're on vacation literally, but you're at home. Which is weird. People don't get it. And you're like, oh, I'm on vacation. It's like, but you're at your house. It's like, if you're ready to be away from home for long periods of time, 6 to 10 months, non-stop working. But it's not just the being away from home part. Now you also got to factor in the lack of communication with home part too. And I think that's the part that gets people a little bit more than just being away from home. Because you could be homesick from not seeing your house or your family, but then not being able to talk to them whenever you wanted to. That's kind of the part that gets people. Me personally, being from the US, every time we were in home port, I was able to use my cell phone and call home. But that was once a week. And I was able to call for just a couple hours because you're only in port a couple hours. So if you have cell phone service, then you can do that when you're in ports. That's awesome. You can also use the internet. One good thing about being a crew member is when you get to the ports, you go and you find out where the free Wi-Fi is, and you can use the Wi-Fi in pretty much most cafes, bars, restaurants, a lot of places. You'll be surprised where you find free Wi-Fi. You can also buy Wi-Fi, and you can buy phone cards on the ship. Now, you still have to pay for them. Being a crew member doesn't entitle you to free internet or free phone calls, but you get them at a significant reduced rate compared to what the guests would pay. If you can wait 2 days until you get to a port to go on Facebook, you'll save yourself a lot of money. The next thing that you want to ask yourself is, are you ready to work potentially long hours? Now, it's not saying that you're going to be working 24 hours a day, but you might. No, I'm just kidding. You're not going to work 24 hours a day, but you will work long hours because, yeah, you might have like a long 10-hour day. Me personally, I would clock in some days 12 to 15 hours. And those were my busy days. Other days was about 10 hours. That's kind of non-stop. But yeah, you'll work long hours, but you'll also be working every day. So that's the thing that I think it starts to drain on you, is if you're not used to working, you live for that weekend. On the ship, you're not going to know what that word means. Weekend is not going to have a meaning at all. Some people think that's easy, but there gets to that point where you're just like, oh my god, like I gotta keep doing this until the contract is over. The juice is worth the squeeze. So it depends on what you make of it, but just be prepared to kind of have that go work attitude going from the minute you sign on to the day you sign off. Are you good at following rules? Now this isn't meant to scare you or anything like that. You're not going to be working on board a floating prison camp. But like any other job, there are rules for the employees. With the ship, there are going to be rules that are 3 strikes, you're out, the usual. There are also rules that if you break it once, you're done. You're gone. You are signed off. You are fired. It also depends on your department, and it also depends on the company. I've heard different cruise lines have different levels of strictness with their jobs. With Carnival, there were strict rules. It was not so much to the point on some ships that I worked on where you're walking around on eggshells the whole time. I've heard that Disney Cruise Lines is a little bit strict. These are just things that I've heard when sitting in a cafe on the internet and being next to a table full of people from a different cruise line that was in port the same day. You just kind of swap stories because, secretly in the back of your head, you want to know what it's like on the other cruise lines just because it's such a crazy world. You want to see everybody else's different world. So just be prepared to kind of get hit with a lot of expectations and a lot of rules. And if you're good at following them, and if you know how to just kind of keep your head to the ground, have a good time, and work hard, show that you're worth it, you're going to have a great time. It's all, if you are immediately in the beginning going, I don't care, these stupid rules, nobody can tell me what to do, you're going to have a bad time. Another thing that you want to consider regarding the rules is, aside from being a crew member, when you are on board, you are also a member of the onboard safety team because you are technically a seaman or a seafarer, because seaman is funny. In the event of an emergency or during any of the safety drills, it's your duty as a crew member to direct the guests to the safety areas, the muster stations where the lifeboats are, and in that whole process of loading and unloading lifeboats in the event of emergency. So here's a pretty obvious question to ask yourself. Do you like to save money? Because if you work on a cruise ship, then you're going to save yourself some money. You got to think of it this way. On land, you get a job, you get a paycheck. Part of that paycheck goes towards eating. Part of that paycheck goes to paying rent. Part of that paycheck pays for gas. When you work on board a ship, you live where you work. The company pays for your room and board, and you get 3 meals a day. Kind of sounds like prison. I'm just kidding. No. But yeah, no, you get your own food in the own crew mess areas. Certain cruise lines, again, depending on your department, they will actually pay for your transportation to and from the ship as well. The only thing they don't pay for, if they are paying for your transportation, is your overweight baggage fees. So that's something to consider when you're packing. But more on that in a later video. So this next question is kind of a two-part question. Part 1, do you enjoy customer service? And part 2, are you ready to work with guests? Customer service is, it's customer service. The customer's always right. That mentality where it's very customer-driven. On the other hand, they're also guests. Why are they classified as guests and not just customers is because they are coming on board the ship on vacation. So they're going to be a little bit different than the lady that you are going to help check out at the supermarket. Because these people are going to come on and they're going to feel very entitled because they paid all this money to come on this vacation and they want to be waited on hand and foot. So I guess the best way to kind of put it into perspective is everybody works at least 51 weeks out of the year and they get 1 week of vacation. They take that week and they chose to come on board and enjoy a cruise with you, and it's up to you and all the other crew members to make that guest feel super special, to make that guest feel like they're the only one that's there, and to make that guest enjoy themselves so much that when they go home, they start to plan to come back again the next year, or they go home and tell their friends that their friends will then come and cruise. And it's just kind of a big chain reaction because the more guests that come and cruise, the more likely you have a job. So do a good job, job security. 98% of the guests that you're going to meet, 98% of the guests that you're going to interact with are going to be absolutely wonderful. There are going to be that small percentage, that 2% of those guests that absolutely piss you off. But just know that they are a very small number. And the next cruise, when they're gone and you'll never see them again, hopefully, you can laugh about it with your friends in the crew bar, and it'll make for some fun stories and some, and some funny memories. So there's always that. Kind of a follow-up to that question, do you have patience? Now, this, again, it goes along with the lines of, are you good with customer service, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be a very stressful environment, and your patience will be tested. Not only by the guests that you deal with, it's also going to be tested by your fellow crew members. So just kind of know that if you have patience, then things are going to be a little bit easier for you than if you were not a very patient person. If you have patience, you'll be okay. If you don't have patience, it's going to be very stressful. Which brings me to my next question. How well can you handle stress? It is a very stressful environment. It's very go, go, go. It's very fast-paced, and it's very in-your-face. So it's going to be stressful. Things are going to need to be done immediately. Things are going to need to be done now. People are going to be blah, 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 non-stop. So your ability to handle stress and your ability to deal with stress is also going to make your job a lot easier. Think about it this way. You have a job on land. You have a stressful day at work. You clock out at the end of the day, drive home, you go home, and you unwind. On the ship, you have a stressful day at work, you clock out, you're still on the ship. So you really don't have any way of getting away from it, and you're kind of stuck in that environment for the length of your contract. So if you find yourself at a land-based job and you get stressed very easily, just think that on the ship, it's going to be amplified tenfold. What kind of things do you find as necessities to you? Now, I want you to think about this seriously. In your free time, what do you like to do? Do you like to be on the internet? Do you like to be on Facebook? Do you like to text your friends? Do you like to talk on the phone? Do you like to watch things on Hulu? Do you like to binge watch Netflix shows? Do you like to go for drives? Do you like to be out at night? Do you like to walk around? These things are very important because there are going to be things that you're limited to doing on the ship, and there are going to be things that you're limited to bringing on board. So depending on what you do in your free time, if you like to watch movies, if you like to watch TV shows, then buy yourself one of those CD books, fill it up with a bunch of your favorite movies and TV shows, and bring it with you. Or you can get yourself one of those portable external hard drives, which is probably the best idea ever. However you choose to fill that up with TV shows and movies is completely up to you, because there are some different means of getting them. You can sleep a little easier knowing that 1 out of every 3 crew members that work on board a ship have an external hard drive filled with movies and TV shows and are extremely willing to share and trade. If you enjoy reading, Kindles are great, any type of e-reader, because you don't have to carry the books around. Because remember those overweight baggage fees. So Kindle, you can put on as many books as you want. They're all right there in the palm of your hand. If you find that there's a lot of things that you can't live without, then maybe working on a ship's not for you. And again, if you have any question about anything, send me a comment, send me a message. One of the last couple of questions that you want to ask yourself is what exactly you want to do when you work on board a cruise ship. If you think about it as a floating hotel, think about all the different positions of people that work inside a hotel. You can also start thinking about other general jobs that you might do. You've got all these different departments on board. You've got guest services, food and beverage, which is dining staff, bartenders, waiters. You've got housekeeping, you've got engineering, you've got your entertainment department, you've got your deck department, your IT department, your photo department, you've got your audio-visual department, you've got your casino, you've got shore excursions, you've got art gallery, you've got the gift shops, you've got the port shopping specialists, you've got the future cruise consultants, and then there's the people that work in the spa and the fitness center. Other cruise lines have different, kind of more unique positions. Like, for example, Royal Caribbean right now on their newest ship, they've got that skydiving simulator. Are you a skydiving instructor? Have you ever worked at one of those iFly places? You can get a job on a Royal Caribbean ship as a skydiving instructor. Carnival on the Magic, when I was there, they had the whole sports court. They had all the different sports directors and the assistant sports directors and just sports positions that would go up and just do nothing but play basketball, dodgeball, all the sports related games. So again, there are different positions on board every ship. So do some research and learn about the different departments. Learn about what you think you would like to do. If you had to pick something to do 6 months nonstop, what would you do? And again, it all comes down to just doing research. It's a good conversation starter when you're on land. So, what do you do? I work on board a cruise ship. Oh my God. Oh, what's it like? Oh. It's pretty cool. Questions that we were just going over, write them down, answer them honestly, and if you still think that you're ready to go and try to check out and work on board a cruise ship, then check out the next couple of videos as I give you some more information on what to do, where to go, what to expect when you join this culture of ship life. It's unlike anything you'll ever experience, and it's pretty awesome. So again, ask those questions to yourself, and if you still think you're ready, check out my next video, and I'll help you take that step forward on your journey to working on board a cruise ship. So if you like what you see, make sure you give me a like, comment on the bottom, subscribe to my videos. If you have any other questions that maybe you still want to know the answer to, write a comment, message me, anything. I'm here to be your guide, and if I can't answer your question, I know somebody that will be able to answer your question. So trust me, I got my connections. All right, well, I'll see you in the next video, and keep watching.